Because what NTN is going to bring is a unified platform, which allows users to not have to choose whether they want satellite connectivity or cellular connectivity.
Welcome back to our interview series taking place today at the ATxEnterprise, part of the ATX Singapore at the Singapore Expo. And with me today, I have Aziz, who is the VP of Global Sales at Iridium. So, Brian, great to have you today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And okay, let's dive in. One of the first things that we want to ask you is that, we hear a lot of new announcements from Iridium, and we know that Iridium has been expanding beyond legacy Satcom, into NTN, IoT, and also PNT services. Yes. So what's been the most important milestone for the company this year?
It's hard to tie it down to just one milestone, but this has been a really exciting year.
A lot
going on here at Iridium for sure. I would say one of the most exciting things is we now have our NTN capability live on our satellites, and several of our global mobile network operator partners are now starting to beta test this solution, and they'll begin to have this rollout, which will allow their customers to experience a global NTN solution, which really doesn't exist today. And the other thing I have to say is, we're hyper-focused on some of the areas that are strongest growth for us. We last week announced an acquisition of Iridium, which expands our strategic view on aviation safety, which is a super critical vertical market for us. And we're excited to get that acquisition underway and in place.
Wow, that's exciting, because
really
like you said, aviation is like expanding,
it is.
And people are traveling more than ever, and we have a lot of on the enterprise side, a lot of cargo planes, tracking those planes, and there's a lot of information communication that's going on and supporting that,
and safety is critical in all that, right?
Safety is critical.
That's kind of the unique lane that we operate in, is ensuring that there's safety on all those platforms, whether it's in aviation or maritime.
Yeah, and reliability as well.
Of course,
at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the other thing that we wanted to talk about is that how does Iridium see its L-band network evolving as direct-to-device and the 3GPP NTN adoption accelerates?
Of course. I guess one of the most important things to start with is L-band is a hot commodity these days, and Iridium is uniquely positioned to continue leveraging our L-band. So you're starting to see a lot of new entrants in the L-band space who are wanting to get their hands on L-band. We're going to continue to leverage the resilience of L-band and our LEO network to serve markets in IoT, maritime, aviation safety services, and of course, recently with the addition and the commercialization of PNT.
So we see that other verticals like maritime, defense, and industrial IoT. So, can you tell us where the biggest growth is coming from, and some of the use cases that you see are really interesting in this space?
Yeah, IoT continues to be one of our strongest and fastest growing markets. Iridium is a satellite leader when it comes to IoT platforms and satellite connectivity. So we expect that to continue to grow, and with the launch of NTN, we'll be able to address a lot more markets. Because what NTN is going to bring is a unified platform, which allows users to not have to choose whether they want satellite connectivity or cellular connectivity, but choose one device with one subscription, which will give them global connectivity, whether they're on a mobile network operator's network on the ground inside their coverage, or outside of that mobile network operator's footprint, and continue operation on that single device. So that's a really important spot that we see strategic growth. The use cases expand because historically, satellite hardware platforms have been expensive and have really priced out satellite players out of those markets. When you start getting into the cellular ecosystem, you get the economies of scale, which will allow us to address a much wider market vertical. Livestock tracking, for example, smart utilities, because you want one platform. There's going to be automotive use cases that we just haven't addressed historically that we can now address with NTN.
So you head global sales for Iridium, right? Yes. And therefore you serve different regions, different markets.
Yes.
Do you see a particular trend in certain markets, and do you see particular priorities? What's your experience?
Yes. Certainly, around my EMEA market, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, we're seeing a lot more demand and inquiries around PNT because of jamming and spoofing activity that might be going on and conflict. And then what we're seeing as a follow-on to that is other markets waking up to, hey, there's a potential issue here, and we need some resilience on our standard GPS. So we're seeing that here in Asia Pac. We're seeing it across the market, various markets, but certainly in the Middle East, it's a very hot topic right now. And Asia Pac specifically is one of our fastest growing IoT markets. Lots of various manufacturing companies develop devices and vehicle platforms that require IoT connectivity.
Okay, so that's the uniqueness of different markets, right?
Yes.
And based on these priorities and the solutions that you guys bring to the market, is there a lot of co-creation, which means that you collaborate closely with enterprises and then develop the solutions, before it hits the market?
Yes.
So, and I guess, understanding the local market needs is one of the biggest things that drives this, right? And at the same time, collaboration with the local partners and the ecosystem, the local ecosystem. So, do you see adequate collaboration?
From our perspective, Iridium is a wholesaler, and we have only gone to market through our partners. So our partners will buy Iridium enabling technology, which is just a basic transceiver, but then they know how to serve unique markets because they're local in the market. And they'll take that enabling technology and turn it into a device that addresses that market and their customers. So we've got over 500 partners globally. We continue to grow that year over year, and that will continue to be our market approach. We see collaboration and local presence as the only way to truly be successful and penetrate a market. So we've got partners spread out throughout all over Asia Pac, all over Europe, Middle East, and all over North and South America. And they bring our services and products to market.
And that partnership, I think, is fundamental to Iridium's growth.
We wouldn't exist without our partners. They're very important to our
I think especially in the satellite space,
absolutely,
you would need that level of local insights to be able to reach the enterprises in that locality.
Yes, we don't know their markets as well as they do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, most of them are not just vendors, they're actually part of their customer's operation. They understand their customers better than anyone else can. So they're integral to our success.
Oh, I see. And, we talked a little bit about the major announcement that came out this year, right? So what are other exciting things that we can expect from Iridium, maybe in the pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear news around some big names, hardware platform manufacturers that are going to get involved with Iridium and roll out products that have Iridium capability on board. You'll continue to hear announcements of large global network operators that are teaming up with Iridium to bring our satellite connectivity to their customers. So this year is exciting. What you'll definitely hear about later this year is the official commercial launch of our NTN service, which will, again, bring global NTN to the market for the first time.
Wow, this sounds really interesting.
It'll be a busy year for sure.
Yeah, it's a busy year for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess, at today's show in particular, at ATX, Enterprise, I guess, you would have had a lot of conversations. And what's your take about, this year's gathering and the dialogues that you see taking place?
I think there's a continuous innovation that's being driven in this space, and obviously technology changes on a per minute basis at this point.
Exactly.
But what we're excited to see is a lot of interest in the products and services that we're bringing to market. Again, PNT is a very hot topic this show. We've spoken to a lot of potential customers and partners that are interested in working with Iridium to bring those solutions to their customers.
Awesome. And I guess, Brian, that brings us to the end of the, our interview today. We learned quite a bit about Iridium. Great. And I think, especially about your collaborative model and how that has been, that has underpinned the growth that we see at Iridium. So let's continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
And connect again at another, maybe another show.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.